This is part 4 of AngularJS tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss the use of ng-source directive in Angular. Using a binding expression with the image source attribute results in a 404 error. Let's understand this with an example. Here, I have an ASP.NET Web Application project. To this project, I have added this images folder, and within the folder, we have the United States of America flag. We want to display this image on a web page. So here I have HTML page 1.html. Within this page, I'm going to use an image element and set the source attribute. For now, I'm going to hard code the source attribute value. Where is the image present? It's present in this images folder, and this images folder is present within the root directory of the project. So /images /usa-flag.png. So the path we are specifying here is the relative path. And I'm also going to set the style attribute. I'm going to set the height to 100 pixels and width to 200 pixels. Let's close the image element, and when we refresh this page, we should see the flag on the web page. Now here we have hard coded the source attribute value of the image element. Now let's say we want to set this dynamically, and we want to do that using AngularJS. The way we do that is by using binding expressions in Angular. So for that, we first need to build the model for this view. So I'm going to go to the Script.js file. This file is present within the scripts folder. This is the same file that we worked with in the previous video session. All I have done so far is remove the code that was already there within this controller function. So within this controller function, I'm going to create a country object. And this country object is going to have three properties: name of the country, capital, and its flag path. So name of the country is going to be United States of America. Capital is going to be Washington, D.C. And we want the flag path. So the property is flag, and the path is going to be /images /usa-flag.png. So we have our object here. We need to attach this to the scope object. So we are passing the scope object as a parameter to this controller function. So $scope dot country equals country. So we have our controller ready, and within our view, notice for this div element, we have specified myController as the controller using ng-controller directive. So within this div element, I'm going to include three more div elements. So the first div is going to display the name of the country, and to display the name of the country, I'm going to use the AngularJS binding expression. And what is our model? The model is country, and it has got the name property, which is going to display the name of the country. And similarly, we want to display the country capital and the image. So capital is going to be country.capital, and we want to display the image, so I'm going to use the image element. So I'm going to copy and paste this right here. So instead of hard coding the source attribute value, I'm going to specify that dynamically using a binding expression. So let's use the AngularJS binding expression, and the path for the flag is going to come from flag property of the country object. Okay, and we have our style attribute along with the source attribute. I'm also going to specify the alt attribute. Again, I'm not going to hard code the value. Instead, I'm going to use a binding expression. So the alternate text is going to be country.name. So that should return us United States of America. And since it is the United States of America flag, I'm going to append this word flag with a space in front of it. So that will be the alternate text. Just in case if the image is not loaded for some reason, this alternate text will be displayed. Alright, so let's save our changes, and let's go ahead and reload this page. Look at that, we get the name of the country, the capital, and the flag as expected. But then look at the console tab right here within the developer tools. We have one error, and look at the error that we get, 404 not found. So let's understand the reason for this 404. The image is displayed fine. So why are we getting this 404 error? The reason for this 404 error is because we are using a binding expression with the image source attribute. So here we have the source attribute. We are using the AngularJS binding expression. So why do we get that 404 if we use an Angular binding expression with the source attribute of the image element? That's because as soon as the DOM is parsed, at that point a request is issued to load that image from the server. At that point, the AngularJS binding expression is not evaluated. So it's using this double curly brace country.flag and closing double curly brace as the path to load the image from. And we don't have an image at that path. In fact, that's not a valid path. So that's why we get this 404 error. Now the obvious question that comes to our mind is, if the image can't be found at that path, then how is it displaying the image that we see right here? Now the reason we are seeing this image because a second request is made to load that image after the binding expression that we have specified as the value for the source attribute is evaluated. Okay, so in effect there are two requests made to the server to load that image. One is loaded as soon as the DOM is parsed. At that point the binding expression is not evaluated, so obviously which is an invalid path here, it can't find the image, so we get that 404 error that we see in the developer tools. And after this binding expression is evaluated, we get the correct path from the model, which is /images/usa-flag.png, and at that point, after the binding expression is evaluated, the image is loaded without any problem, and that's how we see this image right here. So in effect there are two requests that are made to the server. Let's actually prove that. I have Fiddler running already here. Let's go ahead and delete all the traffic that is captured, and what I'm going to do is press Ctrl R to reload the page. And now when we go back to the filter, look at that, we have 404 here, and look at the URL to which it has made the request, localhost : we have a port number there, and /, look at the path it is using, country.flag. that is nothing but the property that we have specified here within the binding expression. That's not a valid path, so it obviously can't load an image from that path, and that's the reason why we get that 404. And after that there is another request, and that request is made to localhost : same port number /images/usa-flag.png, and that request is made after this AngularJS binding expression is evaluated. Okay, so two requests going to the server. So how do we resolve this? To resolve this, we use ng-source attribute, okay, the directive in Angular terms. This ng-source directive is going to ensure that a request is issued only after AngularJS has evaluated the binding expression. That means it's going to solve two problems. One, we will not get that 404 error anymore, and only one request is made to load that image. Let's actually prove that again with an example. So instead of issuing the source attribute, I'm going to specify ng-source attribute, save the changes, and let's reload this page. Look at that, the image is displayed fine, and obviously within the console window we don't have any error. Let's go back to Fiddler and look at the request right here. There is only one request made to load that image. Okay, so that's why whenever you use Angular binding expression, you should use ng-source directive as opposed to the source attribute. And let's also quickly look at this alt attribute right here. So here we are using a binding expression for the alt attribute. So this will be displayed in case if the image can't be loaded for some reason. So let's actually change the image path to something like usa-flag1.png, and let's reload this page. Look at that, the image can't be loaded, and the alternate text is displayed, USA flag. Thank you for listening and have a great day.